It's like trying to keep them all together and trying to convince them
Not to leave.
Not to look elsewhere, to kind of and kind of get them to kind of buy into you and
Yeah.
what you want to do here.
You know what? It was. I think they kind of relied on each other. To be honest with you, they're such a tight group, and some of the guys that may have had some thoughts on leaving, I think they wanted to stay for each other as much as me. I would like to tell you it was me, but I think it was really that they didn't want to disappoint each other, and they had won a championship together, and they feel like they can continue to win at a high level together. And I think hopefully after meeting me, they felt a little better about it, to be honest with you. But I think a lot of it has to be attributed to the way that Pat ran the program and the way they care about each other, which is really neat. You know, really neat to have.
When you were interviewed for the job, I mean, how badly did you want it? Did you just think of as BU, just maybe, were you kind of 50-50 on it, or I mean,
Hold on 1 second. Hey, Sean, trying to do something here. Your playing days are over. Can you just hold the ball? I wanted the job really bad. When the job opened, I couldn't have asked for a better opportunity. You know, I said this in my press conference in 94, 95 was my first season as assistant at Hofstra. BU was in the conference, and Tunji Aljuri was their trademark player. They were, I mean, them and Drexel were two programs that you wanted to emulate. And so, I was a guidance counselor before I became a college coach. I know all about the academic reputation of Boston University. It's a beautiful city. You know, it's the best job in the league. You know, and that's the kind of job you want as a head coach. And so when the job opened, it was an absolute no-brainer, and I didn't have to move my family. You know, so I jumped at the opportunity.
When you first took the job here and got on campus, what were some of the things that really kind of struck you, especially with regards to the players that you were inheriting from Pat? Like, what really kind of struck you in particular?
Yeah, I thought the thing, their character really struck me. I think anytime you meet with a group, with a team, and they talk about how fond they are of each other, and the brotherhood that they share. I mean, that's kind of the things that they talk about, and I didn't stir the conversation that way. That's kind of what they said to a man almost. It's how they felt about each other, and that they would basically do anything to help each other. You know, and that really struck a chord, because that's really what being a team is all about. You know, and when you have that kind of feeling, it's a great feeling to have. So that was one thing, and then just their level of perseverance. I was able to kind of watch probably 90% of the games that they played last year, and they just really, in my opinion, they won a lot of games because they outplayed the other team. They played harder, longer. They made the necessary plays to win games, and a lot of times it was defensive plays. And so, Pat is from the same philosophy I'm from, and Jay Wright is our mentor. He's the guy that we've learned under. And certainly, I really applauded, the way that they were able to come back from big games and the way they won games. And they won games with toughness. And that's kind of what we're going to continue to do here. Connecticut, you haven't asked one question.
No, I was just curious. I listened to your press conference. I couldn't get up for it, but how you talked about how you kind of built the fan base at Columbia. And I know that's something that had gotten started towards the end of the year. Finally, after a couple of years, your fan base started to get built a little bit with that championship. So I was just wondering what kind of stuff you have in mind to start building the fan base.
Yeah, I think the first thing I got to do is really get out. I know Pat did a great job of getting out and meeting people. And I think that's the first thing I have to do is kind of get out and meet people, meet the students, meet the student groups, and let them know, that I'm accessible and that I'm going to be someone that wants to be a part of the culture here, not just the basketball coach. That's kind of the first step, and really getting involved in what's going on and trying to come up with some creative ideas to get people in the seats, and also going into the community and being someone in the community that can kind of get the community excited about it. Everyone knows it's a professional town with all the sports teams that do so well here, and we have to really feed off that they've done here, and be able to kind of carry that on and try to bring some of these people into the stands. But I think you got to keep working on the students and going to basketball games becoming kind of part of what people do here. It's kind of the cool thing to do and the fun thing to do. And hey, it doesn't get better than having a championship game at home and winning that game at home. Hopefully we can feed off that and build off of it.
And after your 7 seasons at Columbia, what were really kind of some of the lessons that you learned from that you're maybe kind of hoping to take with you here?
Sure. I think that one of the things you learn as a coach as time goes on, you have to be patient. I think when you first start out, you're so fired up about things and you just want things to happen right away. So you have to learn to be patient. That's probably the biggest lesson that I learned. Staying consistent with what you're doing, and being consistent at the things that matter most. We have core values here. We talk about family. We talk about attitude. We talk about selflessness. And to be honest with you, we can never compromise those 3 values. We have to have those 3 values in mind in everything that we're doing. So those are some of the things that you learn, and you learn that you have to do those things in order to win. It's just not what you're doing on the offensive end or what you're doing on the defensive end. It's really more about your attitude, your sense of selflessness, and your sense of family, and that's what this program has right now.
From your perspective, at least, how's the transition from Coach Chambers to you, from the player's perspective?
I don't know that answer, and to be honest with you, I hope that they have a great feeling about Coach Chambers, and I think they do. From talking about him, being around him, I think they know Pat and I are really close. We're the best of friends, and I have great respect for him. We've been friends now for a long time, and so I'm just. To be honest with you, I'm someone that cares about people, that loves his players, and I know over time they'll see that love and they'll see that respect that I have for them, and over time I think they'll become even more comfortable with me being the leader of the program. But it's not something that happens overnight. You can't force it. You can't rush it. It has to be something that happens naturally. The good thing is that I knew a lot of them before I got the job, and I know most of their families or their coaches, and I think just knowing those people and them knowing the type of person I am has helped the transition for them.
From what you've seen so far in practice, what have you been impressed with the most about Zach and James? And are you expecting them to have, huge contributions like DJ and Dom did last year for this team?
Sure. Well, certainly they're 2 very talented young kids that I think are athletically gifted, that are learning obviously how to be a college basketball player and what that entails. And so you can never tell too much about what they're gonna do on the floor. In 2 weeks, I know enough to know. Like, one of the things that you learn is that you got to go through some time to figure out who can do what. But I'm very pleased with the way they've worked on the floor, and very excited about what they can become in the future. I think two guys that can really have an impact at some time. How much of an impact? Only time will tell.
And has there been one player in practice you think has stood out more than the other players? Someone that just really caught your eye while you're watching them play? Anybody on the team?
No, I think overall, because I've watched a lot of the games and been impressed with the guys that played the bulk of the minutes last year, I've just been impressed with the leadership of the upperclassmen. Guys like Darryl Parton, Pat Azad, Jeff Pelage, Matt Griffin, even Jake O'Brien. Just their leadership has been great, and I would kind of lump those guys together as what I've been probably most pleased and impressed with.
And as you mentioned, earlier, you got the job kind of alive in the whole coaching carousel. Have you, in kind of a shorter period of time, have you kind of gotten a feel for these guys and kind of a general sense of this team and what you want to do with them for this season?
Yeah, and I think that will continue to evolve. I think as you because kids get, players get better, right? They go, they go in the summer, they get better, they develop. The big thing I learned also, you don't want to pigeonhole guys because of this is what he did last year, and this is how they used him last year. So right now we're kind of getting a feel for what they all can do, and seeing who's taking some steps to get better at some things. And only time will tell of what we're going to become. But certainly the things that we've been talking hard about, is playing hard and playing together and playing smart and playing with pride, the same things that they were taught last year. But just on the offensive end, just playing a little bit, probably trying to get them to make better decisions at times, and help each other make the game easier for my teammate. Some of the things that we've been working on. That good stuff?
Oh yeah.